Hey guys, welcome. Apparently my dog is also welcoming you. Thor, would you knock it off? All right. So today we are going to do monsters versus aliens, and how apropos that we have monsters and aliens in Looney Tunes. So this is Marvin versus Gossamer and their little minions, right? We're going to do a battle. So it's going to be like one side versus the other. And to like warm it up now, just to kind of give you an idea as we're going to start the film, my sheet of paper today is an 11 by 14. You don't have to work that big. You can work on whatever you've got. I like to work a little bit bigger on something like this, but you could do like an 8.5 by 11 if you got that. It's not a big deal. So if you got a bigger piece of paper, rock on. If not, no worries. And I'm going to be sketching. I'm going to be doing like my normal stuff where I'm going to be getting my base down with my non-photo blue pencil. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit my final lines with my black wing. All right, so just to kind of give you guys an idea of the setup. So to get us ready for monsters versus aliens, we've shown a bunch of Marvin films, and we're pretty familiar with Marvin, but we haven't shown Gossamer yet. So I don't think. So we're going to go hair raising hair, and it's time to take a look at some Gossamer. Mr. Wizard, I give it to you. All right, there's our introduction to Gossamer, and I love that film. Every time you think he's got it, and Bugs turns it around. All right, so we're going to do monsters versus aliens, right? I'm pretty sure there was another movie by another studio that did some cartoon on that. We are not going to do anything like. We are going to do Gossamer versus Marvin, and we're going to set up this little battle scene. So here's what I want to do. Everybody's got their paper. I'd love to see everybody's battle scenes. We want to get like some good poses. So you got to figure in the monster world of things, right? Big hulking figure, kind of looming over like what Gossamer was doing, where he's got kind of like his arms up and he hunches over. And then Marvin being the alien, maybe he's got either the Illudium Q-36 or his Acme disintegration pistol. I don't know. We're going to figure that out, but we want to like set up the main two first. So I'm using a non-photo blue pencil, and you could use like either if you're going to use lead pencil, just usually go light, and then you can go darker lines after the fact. So I'm going to go like Gossamer's shape is like a big triangle. We're going to start with a big triangle-ish.
And his head's sort of like a giant butt.
Yeah. Yes, his head is like a giant butt. In this case, a giant hairy butt. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with this, right? This is my main starting point for Gossamer. This just gives me some blocking. Now for Marvin's smaller, and I'm going to start with the circle here for his head, and I'm going to say he's going to be leaning back a little bit. So we're going to put Marvin at kind of like this pose with feet out. All right, so I just roughed it in. That's all I'm doing, roughing it in right now. All right, and then maybe we'll go for the pistol look on the one hand. So all I'm going to do is rough it in. I'm not doing anything else right now other than basic shapes. Scott, can you see that all right?
Yes, it's a little faint, but it's a little light, but we can see it.
Light. Okay. So I'm wondering, can I? No, I cannot zoom in. All right. So I've got my main blocking down. I'm going to go in a little bit tighter. There we go. So I got my main blocking down. Now this is going to be like the I'm going to scare the crap out of you thing, and maybe he's got his mouth open and eating, and then his little minions behind him. So what I want to do is I'm going to put Gossamer's arms, and now he doesn't really have, if you notice in the cartoon, he's kind of just a shape, and his arms just mysteriously pop out. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to block in his hands a little bit. All right. And to give that, we'll say a heart shape. How about that, Oliver? Maybe a heart shape. So I'm going to define a little bit more of what I've got in Gossamer. And because this arm is going to be coming out a little bit forward, so, and then we have his feet. Now he's got the same kind of shoes as Marvin. Those same Looney Tunes style shoes. So that makes it a little easier for us. All right, I'm going to block.
The shoes are actually being cut off the camera a little.
Here, I'm going to go. There we go.
Perfect.
Yeah, but the difference between Marvin and Gossamer's shoes is that Marvin's are red and Gossamer's are blue.
Oh, hey, good eyeball on that. I did not realize.
But then I believe they appeared red in later like things in like I believe the 90s and possibly in Return of Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century.
You could be absolutely correct on that. I will have to go rewatch that film now. All right. So what we're going to do is I've got my sight line, right? So here's kind of like the middle of Gossamer. Here's where the bottom of his eyes are going to go. And we're going to give kind of some mouth. There we go. His mouth too is not, it's not like a straight, smooth line, right? So I know Gossamer doesn't really have any teeth in the film. So we're just gonna go this little Adam's apple, or not Adam's apple, whatever that thing's called at the back of your throat. That thing. T knows, he's already typing it in there. All right, see, look at that. Did I call it? All right, and then, so for Gossamer's eyes, it kind of, you're going to go down a little bit and it doesn't really connect. So it kind of hangs, the one part of his eye, the top part hangs over a bit. This will be maybe a little bit more menacing than what Gossamer is, but it is a monster after all. All right, there we go. A uvula, that's it. Or is an uvula? I don't know. I'm kidding, it's a uvula. All right. So we're gonna, actually his eyes need to be a little closer together. They're a little too far apart. All right, we'll start this over. Here we go. We'll bring this down. We'll bring this eyeball over a little bit more. I haven't drawn Gossamer in a while. All right. There we go. Hang this. All right. So here's my main, and then you got the fur. So I'll just do jagged kind of fur lines. His eyeballs might even be a little bit smaller than that. All right, and then I'm gonna get his shoes in there now. We've got his hands. So I'm gonna get his fingers. And then he's got those super long nails. And they've got like black tips. So we'll just show that this way. And then same thing over here. And we'll give maybe he's got the finger bent down. And this finger kind of bends down a little bit more. All right, again, I'm just roughing my stuff in here. Actually, that line should go in front. And then we'll get his nails in. All right, so we've got kind of like one part roughed. Get the sole of his shoe. There we go. Those signature curvy lines. And I usually do 4 stripes for laces, if you will. Okay, so he looks a little menacing. Now we're gonna get to Marvin. We're gonna rough Marvin in. And then once we get this part down, what I want to do is each one is gonna have like their little army. And the little army are gonna be like smaller than each character. So Gossamer's army is gonna be tinier. Maybe they're just tinier versions of him, and they're gonna be going at each other. So this is the scare versus the attack. All right, so I've got Marvin's eye line right there. And when I usually start him off, once I know where his eyes are going to go, I'll start with the little side hinge to his visor of his helmet. And then bring that up. And then once I bring it around, he's got like the little part in the back. All right, and then you get those side flaps in there. I watched, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Scotty Young as an artist, but he posted yesterday, maybe it was yesterday or the day before, he did like a Looney Tunes set of his daily sketches. And one of them was Marvin, pretty much taking a shotgun to Daffy Duck. But his Marvin was pretty awesome. All right, so if you're following along here, I'm getting his brush set in. And again, when I'm getting basic shapes down, we'll get Marvin's eyeballs because he will not be deterred. All right. So I get the basic shapes down here, and then I'll go ahead and add bristles, right? Just a small effect. All right, so there's my Marvin head. And then I've got him doing kind of like a body twist. So his right arm is out in front. His left arm is behind him. And if I've got his, let's see, sometimes I'll have to pose for myself to know where my thumb is. So maybe what I'll do is I'll have him holding on to an Illudium Q36. All right, so he might be chucking that also at our, I don't know which one is the antagonist and which one is the protagonist. Maybe they're both antagonists. All right, and
no,
then,
Marvin is the good guy.
All right, Marvin is the good guy. We'll go with that. So Marvin will be our protagonist today. Gossamer will be our antagonist. All right, so I'm going to get the kind of the slots in for his skirt. And then once I'm done with this, I'll get his feet in. So what I wanted was Marvin holding a ray gun. So do we want to go like a D like Furminator, like a Furminator gun where it'll like zap all the fur off? Let's see, we'll give a little, maybe he's got a sight. There is another sight on top of a scope. All right. And what type of gun? Are we doing the disintegrator? Are we doing something different? It really could be anything. It's an Acme. And I'll write it in an Acme what? Could be anything. Oliver, you got to have some idea.
Acme dehydrated barber.
You know what? Actually, okay. So I like where you're going with that. I'm going to say that in Marvin's hand back here is an Instabarber. Okay, so it's going to be this bomb that he's going to throw, and we're going to call it the Acme Instabarber. And then this one will be the Acme. Well, we're just going to get him. Maybe we're going to get him. Oh, the static gun. All right, so that the static gun is going to make all his fur just go like straight out, which is going to make it super easy for the Acme Instabarber to get in there and just go zzz, right and shave it all up. The Acme static gun. All right, so when I've got his legs out, so for Marvin, I've got one foot out, 1 foot back. Can you even call yourself a villain if you don't carry around an instant barber? I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna do like a bend in his foot. Okay. So he's gonna have a slight bend in his foot. And we'll do another one here. That's all right. It's a little wonky, but okay. So we've got the Acme Instabarber. If he's holding it, so again, sometimes when I'm holding stuff out, he's got his thumb there, and then his fingers on the back. So we'll put his thumb here. He's about to launch this thing. All right. And that's his Instabarber. All right, so there's my Marvin. I've got him pretty well roughed in. I've got my Gossamer. Man, there's something not right about my Gossamer. So maybe his eyes are too big.
Well, the hairs need to be a little more rounded. That's one of the problems, and also the eyes might be a little too large. Yeah. But you have the pupils the right size.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shrink his eyeballs a bit here. And we're going to start. We're going to go like this. Oh man, his iris is all off. All right, so there we go. So Gossamer thinks he's got it down. Still a little off, but that's all right. I think I'm going to move his mouth up. So part of the whole creation process, especially when you're doing something right off the bat, or right from the imagination, is trial and error. There we go. That feels a little better to me. And I'll bring his mouth up like this. There we go. All right, that feels even better. Okay. The other one kind of sucked. And it's okay to suck at drawing sometimes, because the key is not to give up and figure it out. So figure out the problem that you're having with it. That's a little bit better. Still a little off, not quite sure what it is, but we're gonna go with that. Okay, so here's my monster versus alien. All right, my Instabarber. Now I'm gonna do, kind of like Baby Groot. Who doesn't love Baby Groot? So yeah, I know Baby Groot's pretty awesome. Liliana and Heather Rose, you guys know who Baby Groot is. You've seen Baby Groot. Seriously, Baby Groot? Do you know who Baby Groot is? Do you know who? All right, okay, good. I was gonna cry for a second.
I
Um,
prefer I honestly prefer normal Groot.
prefer normal Groot. All right. Well, for this purpose of uh, reference, we're gonna do like little baby, little baby Gossamers. So I'm gonna have a whole bunch of these little bit, just like a baby Groot. Now, all I'm doing is starting with a basic shape, right? Which is this kind of like rectangle, sort of. Oh, you couldn't hear me. That's okay. And I'm gonna go. They're gonna go. They're all in that like same kind of pose. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get my sight lines down, like so. And maybe we'll do like some legs up on one with his little arms. Oh, his little adorable arms. That's not frightening at all. Little adorable arms, right? What a monster. Okay, so we'll get some little adorable arms up here. All right, and again, I'm just roughing it in. I'm gonna go back later and I'm gonna pick out my final lines. Not doing that yet. All right, there it is. Oh, look at that. Just cute as could be. I don't even know how you could get angry at this. I don't even say angry. I don't even know how you could feel threatened. I would not feel threatened by a bunch of little mini Gossamers. I'd be like, oh, that's adorable. And they'd probably electrocute me or something. And then, I'm dinner, but that's okay. All right, so again, I'm just roughing stuff in. And I think maybe for this intents and purposes in this, it's really just like the monsters. We don't need any other mini aliens unless you already have them in, then go for it. But because he's facing off against this army of monsters, it makes more sense for him to have an instant and like him to have the weapons, and for Gossamer not to have any weapons.
Yeah, but maybe K9 should also be there. You have to have his sidekick at least.
Wow, Oliver's gonna make me work today. All right, we'll get his sidekick in. Okay, so we're gonna have like one shoe up, and we'll get some eyeballs in here for this dude. Oh, can you imagine like the shedding, the vacuuming that would have to be done with all these little mini Gossamers?
Well, imagine how much shedding would be on a normal Gossamer.
You're right. It would fill a vacuum cleaner. If you have a Roomba, I'm sure it would be docking constantly. I don't have a Roomba.
You'd probably need maybe 3 of those.
You would
to get the job done.
I think you're right. All right, so we've got a bunch of we got 4 mini Gossamers. We got a big Gossamer. Have I seen the baby Stay Puffs? No. What? By the way, I am totally jacked for this Ghostbusters Afterlife movie because I think it's going to be awesome.
Oh yeah, super excited.
Yeah, I am stoked. I watched Ghostbusters the other night after the Fabio show because he had done that drawing, and I'm like, oh, dude, I have to watch Ghostbusters again. And then they had a thing for Afterlife, and I saw the updated trailer. I'm very much looking forward to that movie. Okay, so I've got this is my rough, right? This is my rough sketch. It's in. I've got this down. I'm going to now tie it down with my pencil. So the whole premise of this is a whole bunch of little, like Gossamer's coming after him with, his little army of mini Gossamers. And Marvin being the protagonist this time, is protecting himself with his instant static gun, his Acme static gun, and his Acme Insta Barber bomb, which is going to unleash all kinds of glorious hair clippings. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and tie this down just with a pencil. And then I would encourage you guys, if you are, or your parents have help you out with like a social media account or something like an Instagram, post and tag the Chuck Jones Center. And then when we get to the end of this too, we'll talk about Red Dot, because I am participating in Red Dot, and I hear a couple of you might be participating in Red Dot. All right, so when I'm tying my drawing down, remember I got all those lines that I made with my blue line, and you already submitted both your pieces. Wow, you are way faster than I am, because I haven't even started mine yet. When I'm tying it down, I'm just picking that final line. So the whole idea of using, like, what I use a blue, some guys use red. It's really whatever your preference is. It's just the fact that you've got, you know, an underdrawing, if you will, kind of your initial sketches. And then the non-photo blue, like if I were to go scan this in to my, into Photoshop, I could easily remove the blue, and it just leaves, if I'm inking especially, it just leaves that dark line. So here we go. All right, so T, we're not allowed to know what you did, right? Because the whole idea is it's anonymous. But would you say, based on the style that we know you have, we would know if it was yours? What do you think?
I mean, considering I change styles every 2 seconds, I highly doubt it. But, like, you know, if you see him and you're like, hey, that's his, then, like, props to you, man. I doubt you will, but hey, good luck. I guess.
Okay. I will be out there for Red Dot in September, and I will be looking intently to see if I can spot your pieces. I have one piece that I'm doing, and mine, if you know, mine is going to be like, I'm not going to let you know what it is, but if you know, if you've seen specifically a style of mine, I think you're going to figure this one out. All right, so again, I'm just getting my pencil lines down for Marvin. And if you have, if you don't have a non-photo blue pencil or something like that, some animators use red. Again, it's really whatever you're comfortable with. Just use a colored pencil. Use like a blue colored pencil. Go ahead.
Excuse me, can you explain to me what Red Dot is?
I will gladly. So Red Dot is a charity art experience that helps to raise funds for the Chuck Jones Center for Creativity. And every year, artists from all over the place, so like T is in Minnesota, I'm in Chicago, there's guys all over the place. A bunch of us submit a canvas, or a piece of artwork, I should say. Could be digital, could be a canvas. And we submit that and we donate that to the center. And then they hold an auction. And the whole idea is you won't know the artist because you're not allowed to sign the front. But you'll create a piece of work, and it's, you know, what artist are you going to go home with tonight? Meaning, you see a piece of work, you know, are you going to bid on that? And then all of the money raised goes to help the Chuck Jones Center for stuff like this, where we're able to offer programming essentially for free in some cases. And yeah, and it's awesome. So it's in California. It'll be in Irvine this year at the Great Park, and it will be on September 11th, which is also for Red Dot 11. So I don't know if you're in that Orange County, Irvine area, you can get tickets for this. It's a lot of fun. I will be out there. There'll be a whole lot of other people out there. We have the Chuck Jones season of creativity going on right now. So if you like animation and you love Chuck Jones, we have 100 and some odd pieces of artwork of his, and scripts and storyboards and all kinds of stuff from major cartoons that are on display, along with Chuck's animation desk, like his actual desk that he animated on. And I had that out here in Chicago for a while, and it is awesome.
So what you're saying is, so it's like So you can donate your artwork to help the Chuck Jones Center.
Yes, you could do a 12 by 12 piece of artwork. So you would want to go into chuckjonescenter.org, and then you would look under the calendar for Red Dot 11, and there is a form that you fill out if you want to participate. And then you fill that
I
out.
put the link in the chat.
Perfect. So Scott put the link in the chat, and then you can create a piece of work, and then people can bid on that, and it raises money for the foundation. So T is already like rocketing forward and done 2 pieces. I'm doing 1 this year. And then I have some students that I mentor out here in Chicago that are 2 of my students that are submitting pieces also. So I find when and I love drawing Marvin. Marvin is one of my all-time favorite Chuck Jones characters. And I find that when I'm drawing him, the skirt sometimes throws me off a little bit, but I find that there's more, like sometimes I'll have it bend up a little bit, like maybe his legs hitting one of the panels in the skirt because it's based off a Roman soldier. All right, we'll give a little knee bend, and then his foot, and then he's stretching this leg out real far. So maybe I'm going a little bit more hair devil hair here, where Marvin's a little more compressed. And again, I've got my blue line sketch down, which gives me a good guide as to, and I'll even change that line. So, I brought that line out a little bit further. All right, and then he's got this shoe. And then because he's pressing it down on the ground, we're just gonna give a little bump. There we go. All right, so there's Marvin. We'll give a little ground context, maybe a little shading underneath, just so that we can see he's got, he's kind of tied to the ground a little bit. All right. And then because he's leaning back a little bit, I'll extend the shadow some. Okay, so there's my Marvin. He's pretty well tied in. Now I'm going to get to my Gossamer. Monsters versus aliens. And even so, when I'm doing my blue line sketch, and I realize that really, if he's looking a little bit more this way to his left, I kind of have these as equal portions, which they shouldn't be. This should be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that right here. And maybe that's part of what's giving me my visual issue also with what isn't making sense. All right, so I had that much further back this way, which doesn't make sense because this side should be much bigger than this side. And he's a monster, and because he is a monster and he doesn't really have any anatomy to speak of as far as how big his arms can get.
I could explain his anatomy.
Yes, please.
Gossamer's anatomy.
All right,
So,
cool.
Gossamer indeed does not have an anatomy because in 1980s, Return of Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century, Porky Pig actually gives Gossamer a haircut, and it turned out, so Porky said that he was just hair and sneakers, nothing under the hair. So yeah, there's no anatomy, no organs.
There you go. Just hair, which makes this whole static gun insta barber thing pretty much a death sentence for how morbid, a death sentence for Gossamer. All right. So we're gonna get, all right, now here's also another question, and you paid more attention to this than I did. Are the tips of his nails black or yellow? Which part is yellow?
They're black. The other parts are yellow.
The top part of his nail?
Yeah, it sort of looks like he got really bad nail paintings.
You're right. All right, there you go. Tips of his blacks are nail, or the tips of his nails are black. That didn't make any sense. All right, we'll just shade that in a little bit. Okay, so there, it's coming together. I can see it. We've got like good night times flying. We've got maybe like 10 minutes left. We'll show everybody stuff after this. All right, so I'm gonna get his eyes. And he's got like a little black line underneath. And then I usually put like a little white speck for light. There we go. And same thing over here. I'll shade that in after I get this drawn in. All right, there we go. Now, if you want to, what some might do is after putting pencil in, you might ink it, or you might just go straight to color if you want. I tend not to color my pencil sketches just because I like the ink better, and then to use like a marker or maybe a Prismacolor pencil. All right. And we'll give there, and then I'll just shade in the inside of his mouth. All right, T, this is a question for you because you knew what this was. This was a uvula. Is the uvula in a cartoon, when they show the back of the throat, is that darker or lighter than the inside of the mouth?
Lighter.
Oh, all right. We're going to go with T.
Yeah. Let me think. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
All right, so you'll shade in the inside of his mouth a little darker. Okay, so there we go. And then I'm going to get my shoes in here. Again, because it's Gossamer and there's a lot of fur. If you notice, like a lot of my lines aren't connecting. Like I don't want to just have a nice smooth connected line because that's not the feel that I want to go for on this. His fur, we want to get that shaggy kind of Chewbacca feeling, which by the way, Scott, did you get that Chewbacca drawing I did for you of Gossamer?
I did actually. I have it right here.
Do you really?
See, let me just grab it.
I was going through pictures and I'm like, I totally forgot I did that for Scott. Well, I did that for the show. And then I gifted it to Scott. All right, there's one shoe. And then I'm going to wait on that shoe because I'm going to go ahead and rough these guys in. So keeping in mind what I did up there, I want to make sure that the one side of his head is a little bit bigger than the other. So if you're looking at the picture, the right side is bigger than the left. All right, and then this time, little Gossamers are looking up. And I got little nails and little nails here. We'll see if I can get just the tips of those guys colored black. There we go. And then we got a shoe. And then we got a little smile. These guys are going to be fast. Now I'm just going to show a tongue because actually I'll just shade that. You'll just kind of see the back of it a little bit. Maybe I'll just very lightly do that. There we go. Little eyebrows. Oh, little eyebrows. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. Only 3 Gossamers to go. All right, how's everybody else doing? Are they cursing my name because there's so many little Gossamers? Why did you make this the drawing challenge today? Because. All right, so let's get him in there. Again, we'll get a little tongue. And then get those all important eyeballs. And, you know, I notice on some of mine, on my blue line sketches, that maybe my eyes are a little, on this dude, are a little taller than they need to be. Like they're a little higher on his head. So I'm just fixing that when I tie in my final lines. All right, and then do this down here, same thing. And if I was inking, you know, this is where I would kind of take it out on the ink pen a little bit. And shade that, there we go. And all the fingers don't have to be the same. I do like the kind of the one pinky out, or in this case, it would be his forefinger on his, actually his left arm. All right, and then we've got the sole of his shoe. Okay, so there's tiny little Gossamer number 3, and then I'm gonna get tiny little Gossamer number 4 down and go back, do big Gossamer shoe. And then after I do that, the last thing, of course, you should do is sign it. Look, these guys are hungry. They want a Marvin for dinner. I, on the other hand, am going to go for the best meatballs ever at my buddy's restaurant. There will be no little Gossamers, except for my 2 little Gossamers, who don't eat anything but bread anyway when we go over there. Cheat dates. Okay, there's. All right, I got my 4 little Gossamers down. Now I've got this one shoe, and then I'm going to give a little bit of a shadow underneath. As a matter of fact, that doesn't really make sense. You know what I never realized is, like, the erasers on the black wings come out. Look at that. I have more eraser now. You know when I realized that? Like 10 years after I got this pencil. I'm like, wow, I'm going through my erasers fast, and then I would be done and I have to use like something else as an eraser. And then one day I accidentally popped that out. Oops, there we go. And I'm like, oh, look at that. And then someone said, duh. And I'm like, that would have been great to know like 10 years ago. All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I've got that down. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. There's my Marvin versus Gossamer. I'm going to give just a little bit of shadow underneath, because all I want to do is make it feel like he's on the ground. All right, so there's this. We'll give, now because his foot's up in the air, that's not touching the ground, so there's no shadow there, or that doesn't touch him. All right, there we go. We'll put a little shadow underneath. Awesome. Okay, give it a little chin. All right, now I've got that tied down. All right, there we go. I'm going to go back in with my eraser. I'm just going to remove not a lot of lines, and because this isn't ink, I'm not going to erase too much. I'm only going to erase where I have enough white space around my drawings so that I'm not erasing my lead pencil marks. Although I do have, I'll go in a little tighter and remove that part of his eye. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Monsters versus aliens. We're going to go with a, I don't know, they're not really on Planet X, but we're going to go with a.
How about they're on the moon?
All right, they're on the moon. So there's not really like giant mountains on the moon. I'm gonna have to change this.
Well, yeah, but in Daredevil Hair, there sort of is.
There sort of is. Tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna do an Earth. They're in space. We're gonna do an Earth right here.
And
So, yes.
well, one of the gags that's like that just has to be on the moon. Like every time they're on the moon, one of the rocks says Kilroy was here.
Yes, you are absolutely correct. All right, so maybe in the very far off distance, this rock out here will say Kilroy was here. Okay, so he's on. The whole idea, what I like about this too, is this is, you know how monsters come out in the moonlight? Well, the monster's coming out in the earth light. And man, if I can get the earth down right, that would be super. Let's see if I can remember how to draw the earth. I think like South America kind of looks like that. All right, and then we got a continent up here. We got some close enough. Africa is over here. There we go. And then we maybe got some islands over there. All right, so there it is. There is my Monsters versus Aliens sketch done in record time. Man, if this was, oh dude, Oliver, that looks awesome, man. You added color. All right, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna add some craters. Oliver, that looks great.
So I did a Gossamer last week. So I wanted to do a full body Marvin.
Okay.
Sort of in the 1952 style, or like a little bit like of a Space Jam style. Even though in Space Jam he has like a red and a white and black suit because he's the referee in Space Jam.
Yeah, I know. I was hoping he would actually play this time, and he didn't, and I was sad, but that's okay.
Wait, but Marvin's, I thought he was supposed to be on the team this year.
That's what I thought, but apparently not.
Well, has Beaky or Sniffles returned? Because I was really mad when they kicked out Sniffles and Beaky.
Yeah, I was not a huge like, I like the 2D animation in Space Jam 2. The 2D's animation is fine. I have already made it well known what my feelings on LeBron James are because we did LeBrabies last time. Simeon and his dad are in agreement with me. I think hopefully still. Yeah. All right, there we go. Bam, done, signed, and everything. Not too shabby for like 45 minutes. I want to see what you guys did because this is okay, but I want to see what you guys did. So let's go. If you've got your piece, let's start with Oliver. I want to see. I'm going to put that up on the screen, and then Scott, I'm going to let you go and pick the people who are up next.
Yeah. So
You got classic yellow gloves too.
Yeah, I wanted it to be partially Daredevil hair, and I just sort of wanted to mash up all the styles of Marvin.
I love it, dude. I think you did great. And you've got some good character design. Well done, Oliver.
Here's Tater.
All right, T.
Hello. As usual, I did it digitally, so let me pull that up. There we go. Should be loading.
What? Are you kidding?
No, I don't know.
You did that just now.
Yeah, I sketched and then painted over it.
Yeah, all right. Scott, he's teaching for my class next week.
No, I'm not.
Right,
That's
I'll
your
add him to the
job.
schedule.
Yeah, add him to the schedule.
No.
So,
I'll be teaching. I will. I can
Oliver.
teach.
All right, Oliver will fill in just in case. Maybe you and T can tag team. All right, I'm going to tell you right now, dude. You got that down quick. and then you just threw some color at it, and you got your lighting down. 2 thumbs up for that.
Well, I did the lighting first, but sure.
Still, that's working. Look, even they can't help themselves. They're climbing all over me to see what that was. That's awesome, man.
Cool, thanks.
Absolutely. All right, Scott, where are we going next?
I actually don't see anyone else right now.
All right, Liliana and Heather Rose, do you guys have something? Oliver, yes, sir. Get down.
Well, I was going to show more of my work, but they can go first if they want to.
Okay. We'll come back to you and you can
It's
show
Liliana and Heather Rose.
All right, ladies. Get down.
Okay, well, I was trying to draw realistically.
Dude, absolutely. I love the hair. You've got good proportions going down. Nice. I'm going to tell you right now, dude, it's super important to be able to draw realistic. Super important. So you're on a great path. Check you out. Good night. How much is going on in the background?
It's the picture. Hang on a second. I'm gonna write it in the chat.
That looks awesome. All right, she's gonna pop it in the chat. Yeah, that is, oh my goodness, both of you ladies. Okay. We won't say a word. Okay.
Won't spoil that.
Yeah, we will not spoil that. I will not say that out loud. That looks awesome. Okay. So if you're reading in the chat, just yes, aces to you. Okay, let's go to, I think Simeon had his hand up.
Simeon needs to turn his camera on.
Simeon. There's a
There
song.
he is.
There he is. I was gonna start.
Okay.
I was gonna make up a whole song for you, man.
Okay, so this is mine.
Look at that. Hold on. Let's see if we can get that to focus a little more, because I see a whole mess load of baby
Hold
gospel.
on.
Dude, get down.
There we go.
Check that out. Man, that static gun better have like a wide kind of shotgun style burst on it, because that is a whole mess load of baby Gossmers coming down. I love the fact that you have them flying in from the top as well.
Thank you. This
That's
one's like
something.
just going for his foot.
That's awesome. Well, make sure you finish that, because I'd like to see that next time also for everybody. If you haven't finished yet, make sure you tie it down and finish, because I'd like to see these next time. That's awesome, Simeon. Nice job, dude. I thought I was doing okay with like 4 baby Gossmers, and you totally blew that out of the water. You
Okay.
whole army. All right, T.
Hello. So thought I'd share with you a short animation I did. It's a map part multi-animator project that I managed to get into. Wait, one sec. I did not add sound. Let me do that.
Sound is good.
So you can actually hear what's going on.
What?
Yeah.
All right, first of all, I'm a Beaver fan. I dig the stuff, the later stuff, the earlier stuff, not so much for me. The later stuff, absolutely. That's awesome.
Well, thank you.
Like, you timed it, you got some cool movement going down and some effects.
Yeah, it's up online on Scratch.
Is it really?
Somewhere. So like, if you can find it, I don't know.
We'll find
But yeah,
it. Dude,
yeah,
that's awesome. So I'm gonna reiterate this, even though I've said this, I don't even know how many times in these classes. Keep doing this stuff. A lot of you have been on here since March of 2020, and good night, have you grown in not only what you're doing, but how you're doing it, and exploring other mediums to pull that off in. And honestly, I'm blown away by all of it, because you've all made leaps and bounds. And especially at the ages that you are at, to be able to continue to practice, man, you're going to be like way further ahead than me by the time you're in your early 20s. And I'm 42. So I'm just going to serve you coffee while you guys make the cool stuff.
I wanna show this little animation I did. It's only 1 second, but I hand drew it myself.
Okay.
It took me most of PE class to do it.
Yes, because I used to draw in math class, and I think we all draw in every class.
Yeah. I used to draw in my classes because it was just kind of boring.
I understand that.
And personally, I couldn't. I just didn't want to be there in class.
Yeah, I've done all kinds of things. I've drawn all kinds of things. English, history. I actually like history. History's fun.
Yeah.
There you go. Nice. You got a little squash and stretch going. Very cool.
I got the animation idea from a 2017 game called Cuphead.
Yes.
And I just sort of hand drew from there.
Well, you did great, man. Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I loved the game. I loved animating the thing, and I actually do stop motion as well.
Ooh, all right. For next time, save it for next week.
Okay.
We're gonna come back and we're gonna do some cool stuff next week. Save it for next week. And if you've got like some project stuff you guys have been working on, I'm gonna open the show after the cartoon and we're gonna show some stuff, and then we'll get into what we'll do as a project. So if you got some things, bring it next week because I'd like to see it. All right, cool. So it's been a pleasure this month. Can you believe July is already over? And our monsters and aliens, and then this was the perfect ending to Monsters versus Aliens. Y'all did fantastic as usual, and again, I'm blown away by the evolution and progression that your talent is taking. So continue to draw everything all the time, experiment with different mediums. Y'all have been fantastic. So the kid right here is gonna want some bread and cheese apparently, because that's all she's gonna eat at my buddy's very nice Italian restaurant. Yeah, I know, bread and cheese. All right. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Later, dudes.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.